Hello, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to join. And if you're watching this back, thanks for paying attention. It is Friday, May 10th, 2024, and we're here to talk about the kickoff of Mina Navigators Season 2, which we're really, really excited about. And this program will run throughout the rest of the year. So we're kind of viewing this as a continuation of all the work that's already been done, but really hopefully an improvement as well in terms of directing the force that is the Mina developer community. So maybe if Haresh, if you go to the next slide, you can see we were having some fun with Midjourney beforehand. It's also a good timestamp to look back at the Midjourney from version 1 of Navigators and how much worse it is. So that's a nice little timestamp for you. But we're going to start off. I'll give a quick update on dev programs and where we are, what's going on. Most of you are probably aware, but I think it's a healthy way to start. And then I'll pass it over to Haresh, who is going to talk through all of the details related to Season 2. If you've been paying attention with Season 1, then you'll know Haresh took over about a couple months ago, I think. Haresh has been a longtime member of the Mina community. I met him at the first ever meetup that I went to for Mina. And I'm really glad that he's kind of like taken the reins and now guiding the program forward. So yeah, welcome Haresh as well.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to the next slide. So yeah, just a quick update. ZK Ignite, which is our community governed innovation fund. I gave this call on the this update on the Illuminate town hall as well, but cohort 2 ended in January. So about 4 months ago, we had a really good delivery rate. 23 out of 24 projects successfully completed their milestones. Most of those projects have continued building either through cohort 3 or are now part of the Navigators program, which is awesome. Cohort 3 kicked off earlier this year. One of the changes that we made was trying to figure out if we can push products more in the commercial realm and see if there's product market fit there. I think we received 106 proposals and community electors allocated funding to 29 of them. I think it was about 1.3 million Mina was committed. 1/3 was paid up front. 1/3 will be paid upon midpoint delivery, which is actually happening next week. Well, the projects that are working are submitting their information for review. And then the final third will be later in the summer. And then we are already starting to think about cohort 4. One of the things that we're considering is, do we want to implement stake-weighted voting and moving towards a more open governance model? Whereas when we kicked off the program, we had a process for selecting electors and then did a lottery to determine who the final electors would be. Now we're interested in thinking about, okay, can we also expand this to the entire community and involve a lot of the different stakeholders as well. So that's ZK Ignite. I would recommend tuning into the midpoint demos that we're going to have. I think it's in a week and a half time. The projects are due next week, but then in a week and a half time, they'll be there. And we're really kind of still anchoring around ZK Ignite as a governance mechanism, and then also as a mechanism to really grow to get funding, high amounts of funding for the projects that are really ready to kind of take their projects to a commercial level or to kind of launch it in a business way. Navigators. So what we're here to talk about today, Navigators was launched in Q4 of last year, around November. And we had a few different goals, but the top level goal was to increase the number of full-time developers building on Mina. That happened, and we have data to prove it through the Electric Capital Developer Report. Many of you who have participated have really made that possible. We've had 85 developers participate across 50 projects. And we've had some developers recycled out for people who either dropped off or weren't able to complete the challenges and things like that. We've introduced, halfway through, we introduced the team of technical reviewers and we also changed the kind of submission process. We tried to also introduce month-over-month milestones as well as month-over-month feedback. And I just want to give a huge shout out to the review team, who played a really important role in giving all of that feedback and working directly with some of you to figure out how to kind of improve your project, get you help, and also point you in the right direction. So I just want to give a shout out to the team and doing that work. We have the list of This is the list. It will release the list for April very shortly. We're in the process of doing demos for the shortlisted projects for the grand prizes, as you may have seen in the channel. So there's a lot of really, really good work that's been done, and I'm excited to like package this up in a way that's easy to communicate to the rest of the community and to people who are kind of watching the Mina ecosystem from the outside. So there's as soon as the program or the voting wraps up, that's kind of the next step there. And then this last bullet point is slightly outdated, but we spent about 1.7 million Mina from the entire program period. And you can also, we're also reporting on these numbers in the transparency report as well. And the entire list of grants is available on the Notion page as well in terms of who's received a grant and how much. I also want to give a shout out to Mario and Leandro and the Social Cap team for maintaining the platform and kind of customizing it for our needs as part of the program. And I think it's a really good first step of starting to use the projects that are built as part of the ecosystem and demonstrating kind of real usage, not just the top line usage or like talking about it. So I know we kind of have like Social Cap. I would encourage everyone to go check it out. It's a really interesting platform for like verifiable credentials for communities. And I just want to say thanks to Mario and the team for kind of bending it to our needs here. And I know that there was a lot of time and effort that's gone into that behind the scenes. Some learnings from season 1 that will inform season 2. It was really good, I think, like to have something to hand over to anybody who wins a hackathon. It's easy to fall into the Web3 trap of going and sponsoring a bunch of ETH globals and then kind of just like going and seeing the same people at every conference, and then just like people hack and then they leave. This was something, we've kind of gone up to everybody, a lot of you who might have met us at a hackathon somewhere and said, like, do you want to come build? We have something that's really like you choose your own path, just continue to build your thing. We want you in. And that's been great. We've had a great retention from all of the different sponsorships and made kind of like a good use of the sponsorship money in that way. We had a very positive like learn to earn trial with Lawrence from Extra P. And there's a lot of good content that's now, we can use forever on the YouTube channel, and also the challenges that Lawrence has done for us. Up until this point, with the hard fork coming, it is hard to get people to continuously build without revenue or without a path to monetization. So I think making sure that there is an always on grants funnel has been really important. Sorry, I see there's 2 people in the waiting room. Let me just let them in. And then everyone here and everyone who's participated, there's been a lot of good stuff that's gotten built over this time period. So I think, that's been another signal that there's a lot of opportunity, and also a lot of like, really, there's a good foundation of builders in the ecosystem. What we identified as things that we want to improve, and this shouldn't be new information, like we've kind of talked about it publicly the whole way. If you didn't attend a hackathon over the last couple of months, or if you didn't have access to one, then like this was the nature of Navigators wasn't always on. And so I think one of the things we want to really work towards is not having something that you have to be in the right place at the right time to enter. So that's something we've taken in consideration. Hard to define quality commits, as we've talked about in the past. Like we've tried to do a lot of things with the design of the program, but the 10 days of the commits was also to have the work that's already happening be reflected in external metrics. But we very much recognize, and the reviewers also recognize, it's a pretty hard thing to define quality commits. So we're very aware of that. Always, month over month grants, even with milestones included, we think like it doesn't incentivize everyone to ship finished products. Instead, like there is an opportunity to just continue to collect grants by like improving some features, but not necessarily shipping a finished product. So that's something we're thinking about as in the design of V2. And then there's also a lot of overlap in stuff being built, because we let everyone choose exactly what they wanted. There's a lot of, you can see here on the kind of like spreadsheet, we have like a lot of different overlaps. And part of our intention with season 2 design is to play a little bit more of an active role in guiding the work that gets built, and also giving feedback so that there's not duplication, and we can leverage open source rather than, to our advantage, rather than just continuing to potentially like replicate stuff, which is okay. Again, the tooling is also rapidly advancing. even in the last like 6 months, as everyone's been building, we're kind of working with a different tool set now. So it's also, duplication is okay, but it's something we want to kind of like, work towards leveraging. Okay, I think that's this slide. Great, and I'll turn it over to Haresh, and we're back to my Midjourney images. So enjoy along the way.
All right, thank you, Will, for bringing us up where we are. And as you mentioned, it's been a fantastic journey. We've had like some really amazing ideas, and we've discussed some really great talent in the community. And now when we look at the season 2, I think it's apt we start with what we intend to do with it. And the season 2 program's goal will be to empower teams to experiment, build, and deploy on Mina. If we compare this to season 1, you could say we were very happy that the balance was tipped towards experimentation and building. Not that we want to stop experimentation, but with this season, we want the balance to tip towards building and deploying applications on Mina. We are less than a month away from hard fork, and we want to see amazing things, amazing applications go out and people try them out. So we can also summarize the goal of the program is to fund at least 100 projects, which will enhance the Mina ecosystem over the remainder of this year. So we can do this by identifying and onboarding skilled teams swiftly and enabling them to start building. I will speak a little bit more about how we do that in coming slides. And as I mentioned about the balance in the about earlier, that we want to accelerate the deployment of applications and tooling into production. I mean, there are like about 10 to 12 slides. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat, and I'll also pause as we go along to take some. So season 2, we are changing the structure of the grants, and we are introducing 2 tracks. So there is a starter track and there's a growth track. I will speak about the starter track. So the teams will be provided with a one-time grant of 5,000 Mina. The teams will have 1 month of runway. One thing we want to encourage more is to give guidance to teams, and this is in terms of architecture, in terms of milestones. So in this track as well, there will be someone who will be assisting the build of the product. And after the evaluation ends of 1 month, these teams can apply for growth grants. Now, I know it doesn't really help all the viewers, but this track currently is invitation only. But we will be looking to open this track up to everyone in the future. The growth track. Now, growth track is where we want to see a lot of the great projects from the first season to carry on, and also to onboard like new teams. So growth grants are awarded to teams and proposals which meet some of the following criteria. We obviously want projects to leverage the unique features of Mina protocol. This is in terms of privacy, in terms of zero knowledge proofs. We want to see ideas which enhance the Mina ecosystem. Now, ideas could be in terms of ZK apps, this could be tooling, this could be infrastructure. So we are looking to enrich the ecosystem rather than just a bit of spray and pray. These teams, which we'll onboard, we hope they are experienced in Web3 and, of course, Mina ecosystem, but we are open. These teams should also have a very clear roadmap to deploy to production. And one of the other criteria which we are also open to is like, we do have like some teams which may have like a very high budget request, but then we want to incentivize them to come and hack on Mina. So in some situations, we are open to teams who want to build their MVPs, but they want to avail higher funding. So come here, come to Navigators. It's open all the time. Build an MVP, and please take this MVP, and you can present it in ZK Ignite. In terms of the funding amount, we will be funding up to 30,000 Mina, and the project duration is flexible, and you can propose this to be from 1 to 3 months. I would like to add that if a very high amount is requested for a very short period, it will go through a higher scrutiny, and maybe the approval process could be a little longer, but we are welcome to do this. I'm happy to take a pause here and see if there are any questions in the chat. Cool. I think I'll carry on, but if you have them, please put them down. Oh,
I think, yeah, there is one. Will the same lockup period of 1 year for U.S. people apply to these grants? And that is yes, they will.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is a legal requirement, so we need to adhere to it.
Maybe I'll also add just a bit of context on starter versus growth grants and why. And the starter grants, we want to be like, we included them here because we want to be like very open about what they're for, even though they're invite only. And they're another one of these tools that we now have a team of scouts who are working as part of the Mina community. You might know some of them, who are kind of constantly in conversations with different ZK circles and different people at like surrounding most of the like Web3 events. We just want to make sure if, given Mina's unique set of features, if there's any projects out there that are like looking for Mina but don't know it, we want to always be like making sure that we're part of that conversation. And so the kind of one-off starter grants are an opportunity to give someone the opportunity in a low friction way to start building on Mina, but without all of the commitment of necessarily having to go through ZK Ignite or joining like an ongoing program or building something from start to finish. These are project-based, so we're not going to like do it on person-based to answer the question by Zero Extract on team size. So we're going to be approaching it on a project by project basis as well.
Cool. I'll carry on. Yeah. Right. So one new addition to the season 2 is the introduction of a Navigators exploration team, who we are calling it Next. So the members of this team will be individuals from O1 Labs, Mina Foundation, and technical builders from the community. I'll speak a little bit about what they'll be doing. So one of their responsibilities is to review and evaluate the proposals which come in as part of this program. Secondly, they'll be providing technical and product guidance. I kind of want to emphasize that maybe it's not like a technical on-call support team, but they will be working very closely with teams in terms of their architecture and feasibility. They will be directing them, so they are sure that the product is built with like the right assumptions in mind, because we do understand Mina's structure is very different from what is out there in the market, and sometimes it does appear projects end up walking into a corner. And we hope that the involvement of these experts will help the proposals to turn their ideas into grander visions. This team will also be responsible for directing ecosystem growth in focus areas. So this is to identify maybe there are like gaps in tooling, or there is probably a ZK app which no one has tried to build, but it can be easily accomplished, or it is worth the fight to do it. So these members will be very active in directing this growth. We will be opening applications from the community members very soon, so please keep an eye for this announcement in the Discord. And if you have a very deep appreciation and understanding of what is possible on Mina, we would certainly like to hear from you. More details to come soon on this. Now, what are the key changes related to the season? As Will mentioned earlier, one of the issues we face is teams were onboarded only during some type of events or hackathons. So now that has been replaced with an application which stays open perpetually. So if you're anywhere and you want to come and experiment and build on Mina, you can do it right after this call. We are also looking to enforce quality by shorter iterations and milestone-based checkpoints. So all proposals which are applied or sent for this program will need to have one milestone and a final deliverable. These would also be like very good health checkpoints and maybe some course corrections if needed to the program. We really want to see projects be more successful and be delivered onto the production environment. The third change, which I have already mentioned earlier, is the flexibility and funding and the timelines, which you can request as part of your proposal. I'm going to give it a pause to see if there's a question in the chat.
Nothing yet.
All right, we march. So now this is like the application process. It is quite complicated, and this is all documented on the Navigators information page, which we will link and release on Discord and on Twitter. So please feel free to go through them. But I will like very quickly run through the steps. So the first thing is, as I mentioned, the next team could call out focus areas. What does this mean? Is that they could say, hey, ZK oracles are ready. We want to see applications integrating them. And it could be that over the next period of 2 months, we would give priority to applications which kind of fall into this particular focus area. I would like to add, this is not to say, please, if you do not fall into this area, you should still apply to the program. We will be looking at every single proposal that comes through, and we will be funding every strong proposal that comes through as well. So please apply regardless. Steps 2 and 3 are basically writing your proposal and sending and filling out an application form. Links for this are also available. Steps 4, 5, and 6 is basically screening your proposal, what kind of refinements which take place to it, and then extending an invitation if your proposal is fit for being built, and that has been evaluated by the community and the next team. I will speak a little bit more about this in the next slide. Phase 7 is basically you start building, everything looks good. 8 is the evaluation. Evaluations happen during the midpoint of your deliverables and at the end. One thing we are trying to encourage or we'll be doing in the season is to provide continuous feedback to the teams. And this can be technical and product. And we'll make sure that like it's steering in the right direction so it can contribute and get deployed. Now, when a project finishes this particular life cycle, let's say you got funded, teams would need to reapply to the program. So there could be there could be a time delay between your reapplication and you being refunded. So that is just like a takeaway for this slide. All of this is documented. We'll release it soon. I mean, please go through it. And if you have any questions, I'm available on Discord. We also have a feedback form. So you can please write to us and we'll be happy to answer your questions. So I want to speak a little bit more about the screening, refinement, and the invitation phase. So as soon as the proposal comes in, a preliminary screening will be done by Mina Foundation. This is to make sure like the proposal is correctly formatted. It has all the sections, all the information provided can be used to evaluate. We also want to help teams to write really good proposals. We want to fund you. We want to fund all the great ideas which come through. So this feedback will be provided nearly at every step you see in this process. After the preliminary screening, the secondary screening will be provided by the next team. Now, when this screening is done, the feedback from this would be more towards your technical and product feasibility. You might be asked questions and clarifications. And as soon as it goes through the secondary screening, you can say the proposal state will change to under consideration. What does this mean is like we are interested in what is being proposed, but now we need to take the next steps to dive deep into it and analyze it. So once this feedback has been collected, this proposal will be put on Mina Research Forum. And this is where the community can come in and ask more questions and demand more clarifications regarding the proposal. So The third step, which is the public screening, is done on Mina Research, and it will have involvement from the next team and the community. We are looking to keep the proposals open at least 10 days on Mina Research, so we don't rush things. But assuming everything goes well, at the end of those 10 days, the next team can approve this particular proposal, and we can invite the teams to start building. Now, related to funding, as it was asked earlier, I mean, the tokens are locked, but obviously there are regions which require a lockup, and KYC is mandatory. The funding will take place in 2 tranches. They'll give you 50% on starting and 50% after completion and delivery. I'm happy to take another pause here, have a sip of water, and if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Cool. So I will move to the next one. We've put together a set of frequently asked questions, which I feel the community would like to know. So the first one being, how long does the program run? And it runs until the end of December 2024. Second question is, do existing Navigator projects automatically qualify? The answer to this is no. This is not a hard reset, but we want to change the way we approach funding. So all projects need to reapply for grants. Question 3 being, when can you start your application? The applications are open now, and we will be looking to start the first batch on the 1st of June. The last question is, what are the differences to ZK Ignite? As Will touched upon earlier, that ZK Ignite is aiming to have higher funding and more commercial applications. If anyone has been part of the ZK Ignite process, they know that it is community driven completely, and it is a very intensive process. While we hope that the Navigators process will be much quicker for teams to get started building very quickly, it is not cohort based. It's a rolling application which stays open throughout the year. And I think those are all the slides I have. So happy to take any questions.
I think there's a few. One, Ankit asks, where can I find the application form?
Right. We have the pages published, but we haven't put them out. But as soon as this meeting ends, we will put them on Discord, and there will be a Twitter thread about this as well.
And then Saurabh asks, what happens to the Navigator Season 1 winners?
Right. So Season 1 shortlist has been announced. This was done on Discord. And there are going to be 2 demo days for it, and we're going to announce the winners on the 22nd. The process for winners is no different from any other navigators. They need to apply, and the proposal will be evaluated again.
Great. Any other questions from the group or feedback? Fayez asks, can we submit multiple proposals? Because I want to make multiple projects, but I can't guess what the community needs.
Absolutely. I mean, we encourage you sending out as many different ideas, and we'd be happy to look at everything you send to us.
I think, yeah, it's also at this stage, I think one of the things that we've realized is we need to figure out a better way to transfer the knowledge of the people who have a very in-depth understanding of how the protocol works and how to expose certain features or how to leverage certain features that might be a little bit hidden in the code. And so we're really trying to use the exploration team, the Navigators exploration team, as this knowledge transfer mechanism, that everything is flowing through this one team. And so if you're submitting multiple proposals, they might not have the best idea of what the community needs either, but they will have the best understanding of leveraging, is this leveraging the underlying tech? And I think there could be a case in which they would ask you to go out and try to get some data, around like how valuable this is to the community. And so the goal is to make it a little bit more of a dynamic and fast process. Saurabh asks, can we add new developers to our team? Also community hackathon. We're shifting this from a person by person basis to a project by project basis. So you would apply as either a team of one or a team of multiple people, but it's not, we don't have a preference necessarily on how that works. And then community hackathons, we have a few hackathons planned, but we're still working on this structure as our main input, rather than a lot of like in-person hackathons right now. We're kind of like putting a lot of, to use the phrase, like eggs in this basket. But if you want to host a hackathon, by all means, feel free. And we'd love to like observe how that goes. And we're also like, we have a bunch of different hackathons that are already planned for the year too. Elton asks, maybe a little off topic, but would something like O1 RS, aka a Rust alternative over the current TypeScript framework, be Navigators or Core? That feels like a really big project. My preference for that would be proposing an RFC on the core grants, and then gathering community feedback through a bigger process. If you have a way, an example of how this could fit in for Navigators is if it's probably much more at the like library level. If there's something that you can demonstrate on a much quicker turnaround to potentially give weight to that idea, then the Navigators program would be a good fit. But if it's something that's a really kind of like big project that will require input from all over the community, it would probably make sense to start with that at a conversation level, and because there's probably other people who are thinking about it, especially from the O1 Labs team as well. Can we do a hackathon plan in Bangalore anytime soon? That sounds like a great idea. Yasin, who's kind of like working directly with our regional community managers, we've been looking at like different hackathons in different places. Let me take a action item from this, and feel free to like ping on Discord afterwards, but I'll speak with Yasin. And I think we haven't done anything in India. We need to do something in India. We have a regional community manager in India. So we need to kind of like put our foot down on the gas pedal a little bit there. But we don't have a perfect structure in place to like allow hackathons all over, or to like support hackathons. You're welcome to host one at any time. You're welcome to host workshops at any time. If you can demonstrate that something's working and that's worth kind of investing, funding, then that's also like something where, I don't want to slow any progress down. But in terms of like focus as a team for Mina Foundation right now, we're trying to think about how we can approach things at like a global level. And as I mentioned, like we have scouts and we have scouts in India who are hitting up projects in India to try to participate in this program. So it's not that we're neglecting certain areas. It's just much more trying to figure out the best, most efficient use of the time and resources. But Saurabh, you can just continue to DM me and Rakesh as well. Rakesh is the community manager in India. I think another question here: how can we have brainstorming sessions with the Mina community to understand the projects or proposals that are worth working upon? We're always doing things. That I would say like a great start is joining the weekly office hours and discussing with other folks there. I would maybe start a thread on Mina Research. I would also maybe just like get active on Discord and start discussing this. There's from the existing Navigators cohort, we have 50 projects. So like there's a lot of people who are working on different ideas. And I think even out of that, it's a good data set to work off of. You can also observe, you can sit back and observe the first groups of projects that are getting funding. And I think that will also provide like a good path for what types of projects and what level of quality the team is looking for. So we're going to try to do like a really good job at documentation. And as Harash mentioned, all of the proposals that pass a certain stage will be put on Mina Research and will be public artifacts. And our intention with that is to really set a clear path for what types of projects are getting funding, what's the level of quality that the review team's looking for, what's going to be expected from new proposals if you want to like get to that stage. But as we're starting from scratch, it will take a little ways to get there. But again, luckily, like I think we have a really good foundation with all the work that everyone here has been doing so far, as well as the 30 ZK Ignite teams that are currently working on stuff. So I feel pretty good about the base that we're starting from. One more question for season one. Apart from grand prizes, will developers receive monthly grants for the last month's submission? Yes. So that review is also ongoing, and it's not just grand prizes, but it's like the final month grants as well. Okay. Any other questions? Paresh, any closing words for us?
No, I mean, like, please put your thinking hats on, pull your socks up, and I'm waiting eagerly for all the proposals to come through. If you have any questions, I mean, I'm available in Discord. We'll link a forum out as well. And yeah, good luck.
Great. Okay, well, thank you, Haresh, for leading us forward. Thanks to everybody in the community who's been pushing forward on the projects, and we really think this is going to be a big next step for our community as a whole. So looking forward to seeing where this takes us.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Take
Okay,
care.
goodbye.
Bye.